On today's show, the day after a Houston Rockets loss and another Devin Booker game in which he struggled, what's going on with Devin Booker? Plus, Colin Gillespie, Sixth Man of the Year. Miss me with that. We're talking Most Improved Player Award, plus a Sacramento Kings preview. We'll do that much more next.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Welcome back into Locked On Phoenix Suns. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on YouTube, and a credentialed Phoenix Suns media member covering your Phoenix Suns every day here for the Locked On Podcast Network, America's #1 podcast network, planet Earth's #1 podcast network. Thank you so much, wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, to making myself and this show a part of your day. Remember, Locked On Suns is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button to do it. Thousands of Suns fans have already done. Become an everyday and get locked on the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's Locked On NBA, $20 off your first purchase. Joining me, as always, weekly on Locked On Phoenix Suns, managing editor for Bright Side of the Suns, host of the Suns Jam Session podcast, an avid hater of Thanksgiving as of 5 minutes ago, my guy John Voita. Without dropping an expletive on this topic, you can explain to people why you hate Thanksgiving and aren't thankful for anything.
Love Thanksgiving. My favorite holiday. What I'm not thankful for are people who are just purely inconsiderate and unmindful that when they go shopping, there are other people present. The people who wander, the people who leave their carts astray, the people who walk down the middle of the aisle, the people who leave their carts in the middle of the aisle, the people who clog the arteries of the aisles at Costco and Fry's when we're all trying to get our holiday shopping done, get the ingredients so we can go home and share those meaningful moments with our families. It's the people who just think that they're the main character in the entire world and just get in the way of everybody else. For those of you who've been out there, you know what it's like. You know what it's like walking down an aisle and there's somebody who just parks their cart right in front of some primary ingredients that you need for your holiday fest. And what do? They sit on their phone and they're looking at their shopping list. And I get it, but move your cart. Go over by the tartar sauce where nobody's standing, right? And review and then attack. But don't just kind of meaninglessly wander and don't leave your cart. Don't be that
Yeah, well, we'll do what I do and just have your wife go do all that stuff because
it's a joint thing. We go together. I drive the cart.
So I listen, this is not like stereotypical. It's just how the cookie crumbles. I take out the trash. I do the dishes. I do all the yard work. She goes to the grocery store, mostly because I'm always working. And two, she doesn't want my opinion on what we're going to eat this week. She just is going to make it and I'm going to eat it or I'm going to go to bed hungry. Like
my favorite game to play.
I'm a little kid.
My favorite game to play is while my wife's wandering around the store grabbing stuff is sneaking whatever I can into the cart. And it's like 5-year-old food. I'm like, give me a Lunchable. Let me throw some Snickers bars in there while she's not looking. So where we're checking out, she goes, how did you? I'm like, I'm a ninja. That's the price I pay for pushing the cart around, especially at Costco, which is literally a nightmare. They need blinkers on carts, but people won't use them because people don't use blinkers.
My wife is literally there right now. The only thing I dislike more than Oso Ighodaro's push shot, and honestly, Oso Ighodaro playing basketball and meaningful minutes, is people who leave their carts out. Put your cart back.
Yes.
It's not that hard to put your cart back. It's just, you're not better than the person that has to go get it. Just put your cart back where it goes at the end of the day. If you are a mother and you're struggling to get kids in the cart, like I understand I'm going to see 1 or 2. I see 20 every time I go to the store. And it's just like, guys, put it back.
It's the ultimate test of whether somebody can, who somebody is when consequences aren't available. Because there is no consequence for not putting your cart back.
Nothing.
Other than you're doing somebody else a solid that you'll never meet or never have an opportunity for them to thank you for doing it. So yeah, I put my cart back every time. It's not because I'm a better person than anybody, but I'd like to think that, again, I'm cognizant and considerate of other people in these public forums like shopping.
I'm a holly jolly guy. I love the holidays. I hate buying things for people, but like whenever I get a chance to sneak in 5 minutes of holiday talk, I will do it.
Heck yeah.
something I don't think people want to talk about. Maybe that's what I was kind of pushing away from, is because I've gotten in trouble for this. People have actively came after me. You dislike Devin Booker. The people have told me I'm hating on Devin Booker. I've laid it out to people, and you put a really good stat out there, but I'll let you put it out there for teams over 500 because it's not my statistic. But I don't see it more as Devin Booker struggles against really good teams, because I've seen him have back-to-back 40-point games in the finals. I've seen him go on absolute heaters in the playoffs before. Like Devin Booker, I still think top 15 player in the NBA. I still think he's a borderline superstar. He's not there yet, but he's better than a star. I think what you're seeing is this trend that I tried to warn people of on Friday. My biggest key to the game on Friday was, I hope Jaden McDaniels doesn't play. Those bigger, lengthier, small forwards, power forwards, and even guards like Jrue Holiday, those stronger, lengthier, better defensively guards/forwards eat Devin Booker's lunch a lot of the time. And it is even more amplified against a team like the Timberwolves, where I thought Jordan Knott hasn't had a great game scheming Devin Booker open a little bit, because he is like, he'll be, all right, let's send a screen at Jaden McDaniels. Oh, great. Now you're sending Naz Reid on him. Now they're blitzing him, they're trapping him and forcing him to do a bad turnover. The Devin Booker turnover things is on him 100%. He has to be better. Some of it I think is Jordan Knott, and like, all right, I think you got to scheme your guy up a little bit better. What's your take on the Devin Booker stuff? Is it he's just bad against good teams? I'm sure that's not where you're going. Is it the Jaden McDaniels effect, players that kind of have the same archetype, or is it something else?
I think that there's multiple truths that can be occurring at the same time. I do think that there are certain archetypes of players, as you mentioned, who really give him fits. You think back 5 years ago, it was Matisse Thybulle, right? And then in recent years, it's been, the Jaden McDaniels archetypes, as you mentioned, very long, very physical, and people who can push him off of his spots. You combine that with the fact that, yes, Jordan Knott has had a hard time scheming him open, but then you sprinkle, almost like some marshmallows on top of like a nice sweet potato casserole for Thanksgiving. You sprinkle on top the fact that the Suns right now are missing their second best scorer, probably their fourth best scorer, and their fifth best scorer in Jalen Green, Grayson Allen, and Mark Williams. And so players like Jaden McDaniels, who already have an advantage in the way they play, now get extra assistance to be physical with Devin Booker because doubles are being thrown his way. And so in the one-on-one situations when he's playing against those types of players, it's already a tough shot for him. Now you're throwing another layer of challenging physicality to him, knowing that opposing teams are like, yeah, Colin Gillespie, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us. And guess what? Colin Gillespie did beat them ultimately because Devin Booker fouled out. Or Dylan Brooks, you're going to have to beat us, which he's been playing fantastic. All right. Or Jordan Goodwin, you're going to have to beat us. So a lot of our guys are playing above where they should be, but there's so much talent that's simply not out there for Devin Booker. And it's easy to look right now when you take a look at over the last 4 games, right? 19.3 points on 36, 30, 79 splits. Not great. 6.8 assists in that stretch, but 5.4 turnovers. Pull that number down to his assist to turnover ratio is about 1.5. So his overall impact has been quieter than usual. He definitely seems flustered in the way that he's playing because he is being flustered and physically pushed around. Now, to your point, and this is the key thing that everybody, or the drum that I kind of beat, is it echoes a little bit of what you said, Ben, where Devin Booker is a top tier, a top 20 player, right? And I know a lot of people start to go, well, he's a max contracted player, so therefore he needs to play like a max contracted player. Remember this, yes, super max, yeah, just because he stayed in the same city. Team. So he's been here to open up those avenues of compensation for himself. But with that being said, there's 30 teams out there. Every one of those teams has a maximum contracted player or 2 or 3. And so not every one of those players every night is going to provide the level of impact that they should be relative to the price for value paid. And also, they probably don't have their second and fourth and fifth scoring options taken underneath them, and everything has to run through them. Now, with all that being said, Booker's not a top 5 guy. He's not a top 10 guy. Those are the guys who, despite all the adversity and all the things that I just mentioned, they can still bend the defenses at their will. The Jokic's, the SGAs, those guys can literally sit there and go, you know what? You can throw everything at me. And because of my physical attributes, something that Booker doesn't necessarily have, right?
Exactly.
He's 6'5",
so
6'6" on a good day. He's not long. He can't.
Yep.
You know, his best physical attribute is the fact that he can jump out of the gym when he's conducting a jumper, right? He jumps like 2 feet off the ground, but he's a master of the mid-range. He's not somebody who's going to beat you athletically off the dribble. He's not somebody who can shoot the 3 ball with consistency. And so he can't do some things from a physical standpoint that some of those other players can. And that is why we're kind of seeing the results that we are experiencing with him. This is part of the Devin Booker experience, right? He's not playing to the peak of his value right now because he doesn't have the players around him that allow him to play to the peak of his value. And that's who he is, because he can't play to the peak of his value unless those parts are around him.
I really respect you and I like what you do. And so like bringing you on the show is oftentimes like a litmus test for some of the things I've been saying on the show. Like, am I really watching the game? You should just be doing Locked On Suns. The word I said, the sentence I said completely was, this is a bit of the Devin Booker experience.
Yeah.
Because of his slight turf frame. He's not a slight player, but he's not like Tyrese Maxey. But because of his slight turf frame, he can be pushed off his spots. And that is what is going to stop him from ever being in the tier ones of tier ones of tier ones. And I always tell people, like, take Steph Curry out of it. Now tell me who's been running the league for the past 20 years. Shaq, Giannis, Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, Dirk Nowitzki. Like, it's
SGA,
these physical
but SGA
right
has
now.
he has a length to him and an athleticism to him that when he gets bumped off spots, he can still finish, and he's really good at drawing those fouls. With Devin Booker, it's because he lacks that length.
Also, he's an elite defender. SGA is also a really good defender. Now, how much of that is also magnified by the Oklahoma City Thunder are really good defensively too, and he's not ever put on an island, but he's also a really good defender as well. So, like, that's what it is. And so it's not a slight on Booker. It's just something that I think people have to be cognizant of so that when this stuff happens, we're not sit there asking, when this stuff happens, we're not sitting there asking, what's going on with Devin Booker? We know what's going on with Devin Booker. This is what happens. And so I want to get a little bit deeper into that. The Jalen Green, Grayson Allen, Ryan Dunn, me, you, everyone just out over the last. We both didn't go to the game last night. Just everyone on the injury report. And let's get to that next. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. The basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I recently used Game Time to grab seats for my nephew and my brother, who both wanted to go to the game, but they're like, tickets are kind of expensive. I'm like, no big deal. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at checkout. You get $20 off your first purchase. They went to the game, the San Antonio Spurs game, just a couple of weeks ago, and it worked out, but it's not just for that. Me and my wife used it for concert tickets. You can use it for comedy shows. They've got tickets for everything. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Game Time. So do you think it's just as simple as that when it comes to Devin Booker? When Jalen Green, Grayson Allen, like just those two guys, because Ryan Dunn, I like his ability to cut to the basket, but like he's not a shooter. In fact, side note, I was watching Ryan Dunn in warmups the other day. It's maybe the lowest I've ever felt about Ryan Dunn. Every time he shoots, I'm like, that ball's not going in. But anyways, once he gets real shot makers back, Jalen Green, who on ball can get to the rim and off ball is a fairly good catch and shoot 3-point guy. And then Grayson Allen, he kind of is great doing both this year so far. Do you think it's just going to go back to normal? Even when he plays teams, like will it be like, I still think to a stretch when they play the Timberwolves, it's going to be tough sledding. Mm-hmm. But if guys are healthy, will it ever be that bad?
I don't think it'll be this bad. I just don't think that we should expect that everything will be solved once those guys are back. I know that having Jalen Green will definitely help with the gravity, and having Grayson Allen out there, who's a great catch and shoot guy. Again, you're holding the defense accountable. They'll still throw doubles at Booker, and they'll still try to be as physical as possible with him, but they'll also get burned consistently because you have other players who are out there who can execute and drop 42 on you, kind of like Grayson Allen did. That creates a semblance of accountability. So the pressure that Devin Booker receives, he'll still receive it, but he won't receive it with I'm trying to think of the word here, just the continual pressure that's coming at him. It's every single possession right now. It's the frequency. That's the word I'm looking for. The frequency at which it happens. It'll still happen, but it won't happen with the same frequency. And from there, again, opposing teams will have to be held accountable for what they're doing. Devin Booker's had a hard time passing out of doubles. You look at his turnover numbers, and he's second most in the league behind Luka Doncic for turnovers per game. And he's also, our primary facilitator right now, and he's doing a decent job relative to total assists. So I don't think that it'll ever go back to completely normal, because who knows what normal is anymore. Against good teams, he's going to struggle. Against bad teams, it's going to look a lot better, and it's going to look like it makes all its sense. And that's what it has happened ultimately this season. This is something that I posted on Twitter today. Devin Booker versus teams under 500. Okay, there's been 11 of those games. He's averaging 24.8 points on 43, 38, 80 splits. He's got 5.1 rebounds, 6.8 assists, and 3.7 turnovers. In the 7 games in which we've played against teams that are above 500, his point total is higher, 26 points. His shooting percentage is higher overall because it's 47, but his 3-point percentage drops 10% to 28%. He's averaging 2.1 less rebounds. He's averaging 0.8 more assists, but he's averaging 2.2 more turnovers, because against those better teams, there's been a combination of things. There's been injuries, as we've mentioned before. The majority of the guys have been out because those 7 games, 3 of them just happened, right? And that's when injuries have occurred. But also, he's being forced to facilitate more against these tougher defenses, and they're taking advantage of the fact that as Devin Booker is a serviceable distributor, but he's not a consistent quality distributor.
The one thing of all this that I do want to attack Devin Booker on, some of these things, it comes off of I just dislike Devin Booker because I think I've been consistent about this for a really long time now, because it's been a trend now. Ever since Drew Holiday, you've seen this where guys can push him off his spots. But again, he still played well in that series. Again, back-to-back 40-point games, but also game 6, game 7, he was kind of irrelevant in those final 2 games. Or I'm sorry, game 5 and game 6. Towards the end of those games, especially in game 6, he wasn't good. And so the one thing I want to say about Booker, that, hey man, you're getting doubled, you're getting triple teamed. I get it. Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels are elite level defenders, and both those guys who are much bigger than you, can force you into doing dumb things. He's got to cut down the turnovers. That's not a Jordan Ott issue. That's not Devin Booker doesn't have enough help issue. He is actively panicking and throwing the ball to the other team.
Agreed.
And
he's dribbling into the teeth of the defense and getting the ball swatted. He goes into literally the paint with 3 defenders around him because that's what they're trying to do. And he's not thinking. He's trying to think to score. It's right then, that's when you got to get the ball out. And I get it. You want to be more engaged in the offense, but you have to take what the defense is going to give you sometimes. The cerebral play can be the right play.
And I think, he's averaging now. Last night he was just 0.1 under it, but now he's averaging a career high 4.1 turnovers a game. That number has to come down, especially if you're not getting the Luka Doncic-like production and get on my back, I'll carry you to an NBA Finals thing. There are some things you'll take it with, and even then, you don't want that. And so I thought last night, every time the Suns got within, and this wasn't just Devin Booker, this was a team-wide thing, but 6 out of their 20 turnovers was Devin Booker last night. Every time they cut the lead to 6, 7, that lead shot right back up to 14. That's funny. The lead
because of the turnovers
to 14 because of the turnovers. Easy points going the other direction.
Live ball turnovers.
And it just feels like that's an easy fix too. It feels like if he takes what the defense is giving him, he's a little bit more patient. He's not going to just directly throw the ball to the other team. I think that one right there is the one fair thing where people are like, you have to fix that. That's not a Jordan Knott thing. That's not a guys need to get healthy thing. That's a you problem.
I agree. That's centrally located. Now, again, we can talk about the fact that double teams are coming, or that the defense is playing him a little bit more physical, dislodging the ball from him. But if you know that that's what's occurring, that's an opportunity. And that's the nice thing about this, is that it is correctable. Okay. This isn't one of those things where it's like, oh, it's Oso Ighodoro's 3-point shot. I don't think you could ever correct that thing. But ball handling, being cerebral about how you operate in the paint or on the court, those are things that you can put together and fix. And for anybody who thinks that we're being Devin Booker haters by pointing out obvious things, like, this is part of fandom. It's part of being critical. I can't just sit there and be happy all the time. I'm not the person, the person who's happy all the time going, Devin Booker's great. And even though he's losing, I still love him. And no matter what, he'll always be the greatest. If those are the people who are leaving their carts astray inside Fry's and are just on their phones the whole time, if you're the person who doesn't know what I'm talking about when it comes to the cart situation, you're the person. So, get out of my way.
For a second there, I thought you were going to actually shoot shots on people on social media. And I was going to be like, oh, cool, we're keeping this in. But then you took a U-turn and went back to the Thanksgiving thing. And I was like, that was pretty good.
Good timing.
That was pretty good. By the way, we do have a rule on this show. Anytime you mention Sweet Baby Oso Ighodoro, you're going to need to call him Sweet Baby Oso Ighodoro. Because he's
Sweet Baby. Oh no, don't shoot that Ighodoro.
Sweet. How did I not come up with that? You could have been calling him Sweet Baby Oh No Ighodoro all this time, and I didn't come up with that? Okay. All right, moving on. Colin Gillespie is making a strong case for not just Sixth Man of the Year, but Most Improved Player. How is he doing it? And why can't I come up with better nicknames? Let's talk about that and much more next. Today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at Drip Drop. When I'm hydrated, everything just works better. My focus, energy, mood, and even my skin. That's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top colleges and pro teams. I like using Drip Drop as part of my daily routine. I'll mix a packet in the morning before the gym or during that midday slump. It actually tastes amazing. My go-to flavor is their cherry brand they have, and it's become my secret weapon for staying sharp and energized through long days. Hydration becomes a non-negotiable for me. Drip Drop helps me feel sharper, calmer, and honestly just better overall. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNBA for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard, and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. Closing out the show. Colin Gillespie, there's like this narrative like, oh, Sixth Man of the Year award. He should win it. John, I think we need to take it a step further. I thought Colin Gillespie was a good player. I wanted him over Chris Paul. I didn't want Chris Paul. We both didn't want Chris Paul anywhere within a 100-foot vicinity of the facility. What Colin Gillespie is doing, he doesn't even, like, I mentioned this on Friday because I thought it was funny and because I'm a funny guy. I said before the season, if you said Colin Gillespie for Rob Dillingham, hand up in the air, I would have made the trade.
Oh, yeah,
I think a lot of people would have too. TJ McConnell, hand up in the air, would have made the trade. I think now if either of those teams called, the Suns would fart into the phone and hang up for Colin Gillespie. And I don't think that is too much of a hyperbole, depending on what Matt Ishbia just ate. And so I think at this point, you're talking about Colin Gillespie, maybe outside of Ryan Rollins, in that top 2 to 3 most improved players in the NBA. And it's a good problem to have. We are now talking about him getting a real deal extension in the offseason that you're like, hey, remember that second apron you weren't in 2 seconds ago? I hope you're ready to get closer to the aprons very soon here with Colin Gillespie. Is this just a fluke stretch run? Like, I know he's good, but he made Reed Shepherd look pedestrian last night. It's another guy. Like, would you trade Colin Gillespie for Reed Shepherd right now? No, I like Colin Gillespie as a defender better. And I like his 3-point ability just as well. And he has saved this team time in and time out. How is he doing this?
With the way that he approaches the game, and I think that anybody around the organization will tell you that, and they saw that early on, that, you know, he might not have the size, but it's all about, you know, the fight and the dog, and he consistently is putting forth efforts that wow us, and we're thankful that the Suns identified him, held on to him, because again, there was a gamble at the end of the last season. Right? They didn't, as a two-way contracted player, they could have brought him on at the very end of last season to a guaranteed contract, which would given them an opportunity to have him as a restricted free agent going into this summer and ultimately keep him. And they didn't do that. They put him out there on the market, then brought him back, thankfully, on that veteran minimum contract. So other organizations didn't see the talent that he has or the potential upside that he has. But when you talk about those Villanova guys, I mean, they're just grinders. You know, they're brought up the right way. They play basketball the right way. And his approach night in and night out is something that is he's easily locked into the fan favorite right now. Everybody loves Colin Gillespie, and rightfully so. Hitting the game winner, obviously, against Minnesota. But even before that, the level of consistency, the catch and shoot numbers, I mean, his overall numbers across the board are something that I don't think anybody expected. And the reason the Suns sit here as we talk at 11-7 right now is because of Colin Gillespie and because of Jordan Goodwin, because those two guys are playing way above their contracted level. And that's what you need in order to have these kind of fluctuations that we didn't necessarily see coming. A lot of people obviously had this team at what was Vegas, 30.5 to start the year. I think it's 38.5 right now. Now, most improved player, he's not even on the FanDuel list. And if you want him for 6-man, he's plus 5,000 right now on FanDuel. So you can make that bet, and it's probably a good one. I don't know if he'd get the most improved case, because that's just a silly award in my opinion.
Yeah, it's
I feel like there's too many variables.
They give it to a player that was already good, and now they're better.
Exactly.
It's
or
stupid.
they were good 2 years ago. They got injured last year. Like Jason Tatum will win it next year because he didn't play this year.
Stupid.
It's a silly award. It's one of the awards
Cade
that I
Cunningham
don't like.
won it one year.
Yeah, it's like you're a rookie. You're supposed to get better year over year, right? Like young players, you're supposed to get better year over year.
In the overall half court, he is averaging 1.011 points per possession. Effective field goal percentage of 55% per synergy, true shooting percentage of 57%. Like, this is all off the bench for someone who, as well, like, we're going to use the Devin Booker discussion of no Jalen Green, no Grayson Allen. Colin Gillespie's primary job is the point guard off the bench, and he doesn't have all of his primary scores. I'll tell you what, man, he averaged 40% from three last year. And I obviously thought he was a capable 3-point shooter. He's a sniper. Anytime like the gap between Colin Gillespie and Devin Booker of 3-point shooters is the Grand Canyon. But I wanted to fire that take out at you.
Well, there's a confidence when you watch it, right? When Devin Booker shoots it, you're not always confident that's going in because of a career of being a 35% 3-point shooter. When you look at Grayson Allen shoot, you're like, man, that's going in. Colin's entered that and he's lived there the entire time that he's played for the Suns. It's every time he shoots it, just the way that he squares up, the follow through with the shot, it's just always a good looking shot. And Booker's got a great looking jumper, but you just know the further he gets away from the basket, the odds of it going in just kind of dwindle. But yeah, the way that he's played is something that's remarkable and something that we'll continue to monitor, because again, if this team is to continue to outperform who and what their expectations are preseason, Colin Gillespie has to continue on this clip, because this schedule, my friend, outside of the Kings on Wednesday, is not easy all the way to Christmas.
Look at you transition.
I host a podcast. I know how to do this.
Kings host the Jam Session podcast. Kings.
Yeah, if you want the unedited version of my rant about Thanksgiving, go to the Suns Jam Session podcast and watch the one after the Houston game. Man, I spent like 10 minutes.
Here at the Locked On Podcast Network, we want 8-year-olds to be able to listen to the show too, and not have their mothers to say, "Who is that guy that calls himself Darth Voita.
Yeah, who's that profane Suns guy?
Suns got the Kings tonight. Well, depending when people are listening to this, tonight, tomorrow. It feels like the Suns are going to get back on track here, or they should. The reasoning why I feel so confident about these games is because the Suns just take care of business. And that's what the signs are of a good team. Outside of the Spurs game on Saturday, Friday, Sunday. Outside of the Spurs game on Sunday, where they were missing some key players, and it felt like they knew the Spurs were as well, that maybe they thought we could just kind of coast through that game. They ended up winning that game. They were down at halftime. I just hope they learned their lesson from that game. Like, hey, Sabonis might not be playing, or, you know, they might have guys out. They might be in the middle of one of their worst seasons. The Suns already beat them once. But you got to take care of business, and I think they will tomorrow. Anything more to add from the Sacramento Kings game?
Well, I'll just say, 5-13, but they've won their last two. They just beat Minnesota last night, 117-112. Like you said,
Been there, done that.
Yeah, 27th offensive rating, 26th defensive rating, 27th net rating. But a team that's starting to feel themselves, and a team that plays in an arena that is a tough place to play if the fans are engaged. And I think that's going to be important.
Like the Beam.
Yeah, the Beam team of Once Upon a Time. So they have talent. The thing you have to respect every opponent. There's no opponent you're playing in the NBA that doesn't have talent. Now, this team has proven to us thus far that they don't necessarily play down to the level of the competition. I think that's been very key for the Phoenix Suns this season. There's only, fun fact, I don't know if you know, there's only 2 games this year out of the 18 where they haven't had a run
18.
of 10 or more points, a 10-0 run. It was last night. They only had an 8-0 run, and the other game was
I think that was Dylan Brooks' 8-0 run.
Yeah, I think it was the Dylan Brooks, like, I'll do this by myself. And the only other game that the Suns didn't have a 10-0 run was against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where they had a 9-0 run to end the game. So this is a team that can put points on you, even through the injuries, everything we talked about. They still have the guys who can put a run on you. The key against the Kings is just have more runs than they do, because that's a team that can do the same thing. They do have offensive firepower in DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Keegan Murray just had a really good game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's a good player. So they have good players. They got Malik Monk coming off the bench, scored 22 points last night. So they're going to hit you with that offensive firepower. You just need to take advantage of the fact that they're not a great defensive team. Continue to hustle the way you do. Continue to grind and stay aligned, and you should win this game.
Let Russell Westbrook shoot.
Yes.
Let Drew Eubanks try to have his revenge game, and then we'll be smiling all the way over to Thanksgiving. I do think the Suns win this game. They've earned the trust of me to just be able to say, I think they're going to do this. What time is that start? Is that start to that game tomorrow? Am I going to
8 o'clock tomorrow?
Absolutely.
So it's in Sacramento, 8 o'clock start. You can read the preview about it on brightsideofthesun.com.
For the people that are audio audiences, I'm physically going to rip my hair out. It's so stupid. These stupid 8 o'clock start times.
But the nice thing, though, is the next day is a holiday.
Oh, that's a good. Okay. All right.
It's it's one where you can actually pop open a couple of adult beverages if you care.
Listen, I've got, that's a good point. Well, I partake in Turkey Bowl, and I think this year it's actually going to be turkey basketball. I know right now my reputation. Listen, I know my reputation right now with basketball ain't great, so we got to get the shots up where they can. Listen, man, I didn't know Eric Rubio was going to hit 38-foot jumpers back to back to back. Like, sorry, all right? Next time, I'll get out all the way to half court. So it's not great right now. So I gotta get in the gym. I gotta get in the lab and maybe work on a little bit of left-handed stuff. Break out of the traps, Devin Booker style. Book. Let's just get in the gym together. Yeah. Me and you, we'll just start working on some stuff. With that being said, there will be a show on our tomorrow night post game, as well as I should have asked you this before the show. Bright Side of the Sun stuff is still going. Bright Side Night for Dave King is you can you give your 30-second, 60 feel on
again, Yeah, 'tis the season
I
for
want to
giving.
make sure people know this. This is actually the most important thing of the podcast.
'Tis the season for giving. Dave King's Brightside Night carries on. If you go to suns.com/brightside and donate, every donation sends an underprivileged kid to go see the Suns play the Brooklyn Nets on January 27th. So we'll be running promotions. I got a couple things up my sleeve that I'll maybe talk about next week. Just cool ways to incentivize people. And if you're giving a donation, you actually get something out of it too. But again, 'tis the season to be giving. And I appreciate you always letting me mention Dave King's Brightside Night. It means a lot to what we do over at Brightside.
I actually meant to ask you about it before the show. Be like, hey, can I still plug that?
Yeah.
But I just went with it
For the next 2 months.
Call me oh no, sweet baby no Iguodaro, maybe.
Oh, Iguodaro.
Sweet baby oh no Iguodaro, where I'm just out there.
Thanksgiving dish.
I really like turkey, but I mean, like if I'm being honest, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese. I like both those. I like my turkey. I like a little ranch in my turkey.
Interesting.
Gravy.
No, I was about to say gravy is like
big gravy guy. Big gravy guy.
Goes on everything.
And I waited all my life to graduate from the kids table, but I learned I like my nieces and nephews more than my brothers and sisters and parents. So I'm back at the kids table every year.
Totally.
And it's just fun. It's just fun. I'm the uncle that my sister-in-law will come be like, what did you just say? I'm like, you don't let them say that?
That's why they love. They're like, oh, sweet Uncle Ben's coming over to the table.
Yeah, dude.
We're gonna hear a word.
Guns a blazing. Might drop a word.
You're just
that I'm not
firing off your
to.
hot takes to your nieces and nephews, hoping that one of them sticks.
Yeah, dude.
Remember last year, man? I told you, dude. The tush push is here to stay.
Dude, they'll come up to me because they know I do this stuff, and they'll be like, do you know Devin Booker? I'm like, I mean, like I've talked to him before, but like we're not friends. And then they think I'm just the coolest person ever. And it's pretty funny. I'll tell she'll love this. My niece Sophie, I'll be like, Sophie, go bite your dad. And I'll be like, go shark bite your dad.
Yes.
Probably not a great thing to learn, but I'm the fun uncle and I don't have
That's what holidays are all about, right?
Oh, dude, yeah. No political takes, just people getting physically assaulted. With that being said, that's John Voita, host of Sunshine Session Podcast, managing editor for Bright Side of the Sun. I'm Benjamin Garcia, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, post-game Sacramento Kings, and talk to you guys then.
Put your cart back. Be a decent human.
Yeah, dude. Put your freaking cart back, you filthy animals.
You